I almost forgot. Don't connect to the wireless.
Okay.
We may have
Okay.
bandwidth issues again tonight. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but we shall see how it goes.
It's Bandy. I have so many things to say about that.
mm. All right. Are
I'm
you? All right.
I am I am ready.
Okay. Do you have the feed for the chat part?
Yes, I sent it. I sent it into the yeah, and I sent the link into the um chat.
Okay.
I did and then I have the live chat going in the yeah, on my screen.
Okay.
And I need to go to you and jump over to this here. Ooh, you need to go up. There we go. Okay. All right. I am ready.
Ready or not, we're gonna move on and try to get the show started.
Yes.
All
There.
right. Nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
RuPaul Drag Race.
Hey, kitty girls. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2020, and welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race Tea Time, episode 12, or sorry, season 12, episodes number 5 and 6, Gays Anatomy and Snatch Game. My name is Gary. I'd like to keep it on, please. Because it's mandated by the CDC, bitches.
CDC.
All right. Enough of the
Yeah.
shenanigan with the
Yeah,
intro.
let's do this. Yes. Yes, let's do that. There we go. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Don't adjust your audio. We was just fucking
Yeah.
around. Well,
Yeah.
so we had a horrible beginning, but the intro was a little muffled because, you know, we were paying homage
Because we
to
had
that infamous moment in Drag Race history.
Yes. Giving you COVID-19 realness.
Speaking of COVID-19 realness, with me is my co-star hostess.
Hello, everyone. It's Damon. Hi. Welcome. Oh God. I've got a pinkish lid, if you can see.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, a little pink. It's a little pink. It was called You're Running Late, so grab something quickly, like throw it on.
Listen to you.
Fucking did this shit with my fingers. This wasn't even like
I'm
I
running
didn't brush
behind,
this on. This was
girl.
like put it on. Put it on.
Nice.
This is called You've got 2 seconds to get on stage. Fix it.
My.
Well, anyway.
All right, so we were gone for 2 weeks, and we're back. So we're gonna do a double episode. That's right, kids. It's a little DP session tonight with Damon and I.
Ooh. Hold on. Wait a second.
Damon's like, wait a minute. Did I consent to this?
Anyway, moving right along. Let's get into it. Let's just hop right in.
All right. So let's get ready for the first segment, shall we? All right, so put the pedal to the metal. let's talk about the maxi challenges for the 2 episodes, shall we? So,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about Gay's Anatomy first. All right.
Sure.
Gay's Anatomy acting challenge. So, here we go again. Let's put the queens into characters. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Be funny, damn it.
Be funny, have fun, remember your lines.
Yeah. I will say this, they at least this time in the instruction explained that they were to be overly dramatic, like
Mm-hmm.
comedy focused. So for Gay's
Mm-hmm.
Anatomy, you knew going into it, like, this is not a serious thing.
Yeah.
Although that is an issue for the Widow Fondue, apparently. Just saying. Ru called her out on it.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So, Damon, what were your thoughts on the Maxi challenge for this episode?
So I have two thoughts, and the first one is the obvious big one: choices. You know, one of the big things that we need to make sure um, be upfront and honest about your choices and what you're doing. Um, I'll use Widow as a perfect example. She didn't get the part she wanted. She wanted to be the mother, being meaning the mother of like the main one of the doctors. Um, and she didn't get that part, so it seemed a little butthurt at first. But instead of being mad about it, she instead like well, she was a little mad about it, but she instead like rose to the challenge. And honestly, I loved her in that scene. Um, a couple of other people that didn't necessarily get the parts that they wanted because if you remember the episode, it was Gigi and Nikki that were assigning the parts, and I think everyone except two, being Widow and Aiden, got parts that they wanted. Speaking of parts that they wanted, um, Britta ended up getting a part where she was paired with Aiden again, and bad choices were made in this scene. I just will say, like, I don't know where Aiden got that blonde wig, and I don't know where she decided like it wasn't on all the way, so I kept seeing her dark hair underneath it, and I was having some issues with that. And then to add fuel to the fire, we hear that Britta spits when she talks when she's in that. And I thought that was hilarious because the scene essentially is Aiden's character dies, so she has to be like still essentially, and Britta's like yelling or like talking at her, and like you can see like this the spit like coming out of her mouth, and I'm like, oh god, oh thing, thing. Oh, poor Aiden. But yeah, Gary, what about you?
Well, I mean, it do take a lot of saliva to lubricate all them chiclets in her mouth.
Shade button.
Whoops. Let me get the right button here. Where is that hiding at? How did I? There it is. Can't even read the damn labels on the buttons. But anyways. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Needless to say. Um I just simply said, "Huh, it's acting." Tammy Brown said it best many seasons ago.
All Star season 1.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think that some people did okay, some people not so much. There were some nice pleasant surprises. So
Hmm.
yeah, I thought
Yeah.
it was all right. You know, I mean, I honestly I was bored with it.
So my usual thing with like an acting challenge like this is that it can go one of when not it can go like the boring way. Like everyone kind of does what they're supposed to do. The only drama that's really ensues is like oh hey, like I didn't get the character I wanted, kind of thing, you know. Um, and then on top of that, there's the whole matter of um, like, can you act? Just to be blunt and honest, like, and you know, most drag queens have a tendency to be able to act in some capacity. What that level, how high that level is, depends mostly on how well they perform in general. Um, I was not overly like about anything, but it seemed to go okay. I agree with you. It wasn't necessarily like, oh my god, like this is so amazing. Like someone really did an amazing job. But it was okay. It was a general acting challenge, and I think there may have been a little too much, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
in order to get all the queens in, they had to do all these different like things that just didn't really it didn't all work together. Um, like I it was not a good script. I'll just put it like that. Let me just be honest. Like
Mm-hmm.
just blunt and honest. Like it it started out kind of like, oh, there, you know, you get the kind of general premise, and then it just became on like these all add-ons to stuff, and it just didn't work well together.
I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready to move on to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so episode 6, Maxi Challenge is Snatch Game.
Uh,
So the interesting thing to me was is that we did a Snatch Game with 10 queens
mm-hmm.
instead of 8.
Yep.
So I think everyone was caught a little off guard. Like not
Yep.
badly, but I think the 10 of them were surprised that Snatch Game happened so early or so quickly.
Yeah. And
So
that's where I'm at. That's
so David, how do you feel
yeah.
about
Those are my thoughts. It felt a little early, and I agree with you. It felt a little early, and I also feel like it felt okay. So Snatch Game, right? It was said in the episode. It's been said before. This is the one that most everyone who goes on the show knows is coming. You are able to prepare for it. It's one of the few things that you can 100% prepare for. You can get like your main choice, your second choice, and your third choice. You can come up with options. You can do all this, that, and the other. You can have all these ideas and everything together. But maybe I wonder if what you're saying is true. Like it came a little soon, so maybe they weren't ready. Um, and on top of again, I'm choices. Like there are some interesting acting choices for our person like character choices for this um version. Um, some off the wall things that I have never heard of before. Some people that I even at first glance I wouldn't think of as being funny. That people chose to do, and just some weird overall like why did you pick that? You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, there were a few of those too. Yeah, so I felt odd about it, and um, yeah, it just wasn't. It was okay for the most part, but it could have been better. And I think I'm actually going to say it. I haven't said it in a while, but maybe this is, after, 12, 11 seasons and then all the all stars and stuff, maybe it's time to let this go.
Mm.
There's only so much you can do. And what's happening now is what I'm seeing is you either have to come up with something so extreme that it knocks everyone's socks off, or you have to pick someone that's already funny. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I do, because the challenge is you need to not be you.
yeah.
You need to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going to be portrayed? Do people find that funny?
Exactly.
Does Ru find it funny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, Gary.
I said, "Oh dear, here we are again." Um, because some people were funny, like that top spot, upper row next to Ru,
Mm-hmm.
historically tends to be like you're usually picked first to respond, so you got
Mm-hmm.
to be on your A game. It's been talked
Mm-hmm.
about that the production staff like strategically sits somebody there who they think is going to do decent to really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I agree with you. Some things were kind of questionable. Like there was only one person out of the whole lineup that I had no clue who they were doing, and I still didn't understand, kind of get it because I didn't find their stuff funny. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Are we talking about Poppy?
yes.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea who that is. And I'll be blunt and honest, I didn't go look it up. I didn't go like try to figure it all out. I was just like,
Yeah.
so, but that was not a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a good choice at all.
Right. Um, but then I was like pleasantly surprised in some ways. Like, even though we're not talking about She Who Shall Not Be Recognized, uh, she did really well. Um, Gigi knocked it out of the park with a completely unexpected, out of the box like characterization.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Jackie Cox, I think, did well, but to me, got to be annoying. So I think I would have been irritated with her.
I I only disagree. I disagree with that only because it's unfortunately part of the game a little bit. I hate to say it. Sometimes you got to kind of like put yourself out there to the point of annoyingness to like if you can do it well. Let me like backtrack that. Like if you can put yourself out there and be funny and you're like maybe not necessarily interrupting, but you're like doing things to make yourself or make it funny, I'm usually okay with. My main issue sometimes is if it becomes to the point of where you're like cutting people off and getting in the way and not allowing other jokes to land, one of the good and bad things about this is that it is kind of comedy and improv as a character that's a real quote unquote person, to where you kind of have to find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
One of the rules of improv is you don't really interrupt people too much when they're giving their lines or they're giving what they're saying, because you kind of have to build off of what they say in order to keep the thing going. Right. And I sometimes wondered if Jackie kind of went this route and did something very extreme-ish, but it wasn't to the point of like awkward, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
So yeah, I usually we consider Snatch Game like the separation between the princesses and the queens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we quite got that, because there seemed to be a fair amount of awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there were some really good standouts. So
yeah.
All right, you ready to move on to the next section?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then.
Gentlemen, start your engines, and may the best woman win.
All right, Stomp the Runway, honey. Category is, for the Gays Anatomy, episode number 5, Planet of the Capes.
Mm-hmm.
I already saw what you wrote. Go ahead, David. Say it.
Oh, God, here we go. Yeah, the cape is key. The cape is key. To kind of put it out there, like, if you call it Planet of the Capes, then this is not important. This is. It has to be cohesive, yes, but the cape is the main part of this. So if you... Fine, I'm just going to fucking point it out because I'm feeling shady right now. Britta's was awful. I got what she was going for. The outfit on its own was stunning. But cape, it was so lacking. If you compare the two next to each other, it was a thin representation of what she was trying to go for. If she had come out with a cape that was the same material as the trumpet skirt, like half trumpet skirt or assless trumpet skirt, which doesn't make sense. Anyway, if she had come out with something like that in the same thing to where it all kind of goes together, would have knocked it out of the park. But instead, she came in with this like sheer tulle red thing that looked like to be blunt, an afterthought. Oh, I got to do Planet of the Capes. Well, I've got this red outfit that looks really good on my body, and it does look good. Well, let's do a Little Red Riding Hood dominatrix thing, and I'll make this or throw this piece of fabric on that looks like a hooded red, cape, and it just didn't work.
Right. I agree with you. I think if she had done gorgeous blood red crushed velvet, like full theatrical cape and hood, and lost the bottom of that fucking outfit, I don't want to see any more queens try to pull that shit off. I don't care who you are. It always looks stupid as shit. Just stop. I'm not even going to agree with Michelle with the whole, it looks like you're going clubbing. No. Absolutely not. If I saw a queen locally wear that on stage, I would not tip her. I'd be like, no. You do not get rewarded for dumb decisions.
It looks so awkward to walk in. It looked so bad to walk in. It looked worse. Like, it didn't... It just didn't work. Like I hate. There's nothing else I can really say is except that it did not work.
Yeah.
I don't. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. Well, let me rephrase. I liked this part, like the bodice, the like the with the almost looks like ribbon, kind of like put together patchwork or whatever together. I liked that part. I would have liked it if she had worn a boot in the same fabric as the trumpet skirt that she was wearing to kind of give the like
Mm.
you know red snake skin kind of pleather whatever look to it. But this stuff, and even if like something had connected it to like whatever, I might have been a little better with. But this like this assless trumpet skirt, um um Raja and Raven have called it, this assless trumpet skirt. It doesn't. Mm, I didn't like it. I didn't. Again, but as I was saying, like the cape is key. The idea being that the cape is sort of must be the main focus of the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And some queens did a really good job at that. Others did not. I will knock Nikki as well, only because she had this like cover up essentially that was more dramatic of a cape than the actual cape that she wore with the outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Because her cape was kind of another draped piece of fabric. It might have been tailored, it might have been whatever. I don't fucking care. It looked like a piece of fabric connected to something that again, really fucking beautiful, looks really great on you, but it does not to me meet the challenge of Planet of the Capes.
Right.
Gary.
I said Edna Mode would be upset. She would be mad about the it's not a topic. The focus, the selection, the choice, the theme. Thank God. It took me forever to come up with the word. Edna would hate the theme to begin with, but it gets worse.
Yeah.
Because these queens are not delivering.
I mean, some did. Some did. I liked Jada's with the like.
Yeah.
I like Jada's because all of it connected.
Right.
Like the outfit and the cape, not so much the hair, but the outfit and the cape all kind of connected together. It gave the idea of what she was going for, except for the lighting in the back. There's one little flaw there where you see the white of but whatever, she probably made it herself.
I also had a slight issue with Miss Hall because her front drape got caught in her shoe. And it bugged the shit out of me because I was like, wait, is that connected to the foot? And then I realized later in some photos and some other stuff, I was like, nope. Like, it got caught on a bejewel, on a stone, on a something, like on her shoe. And so she spent half the runway walking with that, like, attached to her foot. And I was like, girl.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the other thing with capes. Make sure you know how to walk in it. Let it flow out around you, and then let it drift in front of you, and then put it back so that it's out of the way of your feet.
Right.
It's the same if you're wearing a gown to the floor. If you're wearing a gown with a train, you have to be really careful about where those things land because it will get caught in your shoe on something else. I'm surprised no one got caught on the lights of the stage. Although it's, usually most of them I'm hoping were heavy enough to where it wasn't as bad, as bad.
Right.
What else?
Oh, well, can we discuss the next episode? Because I'm over it.
Yes.
All right.
Sure.
Let's move on to the obviously branded, sponsored, money got paid, honey,
Mhm.
Category is Frozen Eleganza. For the first time ever, a Broadway show is tied into RuPaul's Drag Race. Pick my jaw up off the floor, bitch.
Mhm.
And be highly annoyed all at the same time.
Yes, bitch. Come on.
I was like,
But-
oh, so now we got a little production. We got some setting. We got to do some things. And no
Mhm.
offense, Mama Ru, you did not match the theme for the runway. How dare you? You got Disney money, bitch. Disney money. The least you could do was put on a silver outfit and some fucking blue hair. Just saying.
She didn't want to outshine the contest. I don't know. I'm not going to give her that justification. She will
Yeah.
always outshine the judges. She will always outshine the contestants. Sorry, she's RuPaul.
I
Just
know.
putting it out there.
I
So
know.
like,
I was highly annoyed. But that being said, I am thankful we did not get 10
Elsa?
Elsas. Because I was
So-
going to be really fucking grumpy about that shit. If that's what happened.
I am also very happy as well that we didn't get 10 or any, I don't believe, like dress transformations. Where like you spin it, it becomes another dress because that's
Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Nobody did the big let it go, like,
uh-huh,
production number thing.
yep.
Although I'm sure Britta wanted to, and Jan too. Don't get me wrong, I love a stage queen. I love a musical theater queen. However, yeah.
No.
That being said, Damon, what were your thoughts on the...
Um, there are a few standouts. As I think you're gonna say, predictable. Like this is it's a Frozen theme, so you're gonna see a lot of silvers and whites and blues, ice blues and what have you. So I was kind of like expecting like similar-ish looks, but we got some very interesting takes on things. A couple of standouts for me as I look at my notes. Come here. Um, I was a big fan of Jackie's. The whole like structured, like looking like the ice flower crown kind of thing. I really was a big fan of that, and I also was a big fan of Jada's. Um, and I was, yeah, I was a big fan of Jada's. And I'm gonna actually point this out now because I feel like it needs to be said, and I'm wondering if you noticed it as well. Given the theme, and given Disney, and given what has been going on with a certain Miss Cherry Pie, was it just me, or did we not see her walk the runway at all?
We did not. And there's been some discussion about that and some theory, some conjecture, if you will, that she was cut out so much because of the major corporate
That's
tie-in,
what I'm thinking.
the family values company thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do get a couple shots of her in the lineup,
Mm-hmm.
and I found her look interesting.
Yeah.
Like, this is part of, like, I'll just say, like, my thought was predictable yet kooky. Like, there was a couple of people that really stood out to me because they were unpredictable. Like, and that's the kooky part. Like, Crystal Method. Like, I thought it took big fucking balls to walk the runway in pants and a silver outfit looking like Mr. Freeze. Like,
Jack Frost, Mr. Freeze.
right,
Yeah.
right. Like, I was just like, damn, girl, like, this is gonna go one of two ways. Like, either they're gonna be okay and like it, or they are gonna hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually were complimentary. They,
Yeah.
Ru, I think, led the judging panel on the side of they liked it. because I was bracing for Michelle to completely lose a nut over it and say how she hated it. But so yeah, like I think Sherry's outfit was really interesting and her look and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Seeing it like in the like I've watched the preview of the first, 10 minutes of tomorrow's episode because they always, show it up on YouTube a little bit early.
right.
And seeing a little bit looking at it a little bit closer, like I really am like that was actually really nice, but I noticed that we didn't get a chance to see it on the runway at all. And I literally wrote it down. I was like, no Sherry. And I'm like, why is there no Sherry? And I had to think about it for a minute and I go, oh, they probably, since it was so highly branded as Frozen and
Right.
the Broadway musical and stuff, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that they had told them, like, we know how it goes, so let's get her, remove her, edit her out, because I'm sure everyone is noticing. I myself included. We're not seeing a lot of her.
Well, as the season progresses and we get further along towards the end, there's more time for the editors to rearrange and cut each episode. So by the time we get to, like, I think one of two things, I think one thing specifically is going to happen. Whenever we get to the episode that she's leaving, we will get a lot of her because then she's gone. Or the other thing is actually when it's her episode to go, they will keep to the minimalization, and then all of a sudden we will be like, oop, she hit the bottom. Oop, she gone. Like it'll just happen so fast. Right. But I noticed that like in the first couple of episodes we had more of her, and it's even awkward because she won.
Yeah.
Capes with Snatch Game. Not Snatch Game.
She won in
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, she won in Grey's Anatomy.
Like, which to be fair, she did really good as Mother in the wheelchair, and I was not a fan of her Elvis tribute outfit, but it met the challenge.
Yeah.
So the fact that she won with her huge tarantula eyelashes on, like, I was like, oh, she got $5,000 tip, all right, girl. Like, well, actually, she didn't get the $5,000 tip. I finally figured out why it says in the blurb at the beginning, like they keep saying about how they're donating money. And I was like, what is that about? And then I was like, oh, they're donating $5,000 to charity.
Because they gave it to her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she actually got the $5,000. I think the way they're putting it, it makes it seem like she did get the $5,000. Instead, they gave it to charity. So I don't know if they actually double are spending or not, but.
That's a good question. That's a good thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
So
I did notice that whenever she has won. Oh.
Yeah. Because I couldn't figure it because it was like in light of blah 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 blah. There was this thing about like donation, and I was like, I'm so confused. Like, why are we talking about donating to charity? Like, I get that she's not going to be edited much, and she's not going to be at the air or at the taping of the finale this spring, which I'm like, that may not be happening. But anyways.
I mean, they might do it, but it might be.
Well, it could be virtual.
Totally different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I will say this: like, Jan, I'm still kind of mixed about this. Like, she came out in a definitive look, and I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought it was really kind of wild and different. I mean, she looked like Elsa got bukkakied by, like
frost giants,
right?
And whatnot. Yeah.
I was like, damn, like that's kind of wild. But then she like does this interesting face reveal thing and whips the fake hair and like latex face thing off. And I was like, okay. Like, I didn't hate it, but I was kind of torn because I was like, well, I kind of like the way it started.
She was doing the blue face is apparently an homage to like something from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's the White Walkers, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen GOT, so I don't understand like the reference. I mean, she said something, thank God, in the voiceover, so that, stupid people like me would get it, but
I didn't get it, but
Yeah.
I kind of got where she was going, but I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked it if she kept it on, because what ended up happening as she started walking a little bit more, like the silicone or whatever that's attached to her, it starts shaking, and it doesn't look like it's frozen. It looks like it's slime,
True.
and it loses that like frozen. Obviously, to be is stop. It's there's no movement. There's very little movement.
Right.
And that's kind of where it lost it for me.
And you know what? You brought up an excellent point. It does look more like slime than it does like icicles. So I guess my beef would be, girl, get some spray adhesive and some glitter or some like luster dust, something to make more of a crystallized like exterior texture to the latex, because it
Hmm.
looks way too much like you were at Steamworks in the midst of the biggest jagoff session ever. Like one of those 100 or 1,000 load videos you've seen on Pornhub or some stuff. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, okay, like that's interesting. So yeah, you ready
Okay.
to move
Yes.
move on after I just said something so slanderous. All right.
The time has come
Okay.
for you to lip sync for your life. Good luck, and don't fuck it up.
All right, it's Lip Sync for Your Life, kids. Gays Anatomy, episode number 5. Lo and behold, the bottom two are Heidi and Nikki.
Hmm.
Heart to Break is the song by Kim Petras. I don't know this song for shit. I was like, what is this business?
Yeah, I didn't know the song. I don't get me wrong. I like the song.
Yeah.
I just didn't know it,
Yeah.
and I was kind of like, and I'll put it like this, because Jim kind of mentioned it while we were watching the episode. It was a good little mix. It wasn't a like full on dance song, because if it had been a full on dance song, like fast and whatever, then I'm sorry, Nikki, you would have been left in the dust, because we've seen Heidi like dance her ass off. But it also wasn't a like super like slowy kind of ballady kind of song.
Right.
So it kind of had this midpoint where either queen could have succeeded. It's a good balanced dance. It's a good balanced song.
Right.
I will give it that much. To
Because
where,
it has highs and lows.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it has some good quickness to it. It also has like a chance for a performer to catch a breath.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what did you think, Damon, of the Gays Anatomy lip sync?
As I sit here and like talk about like, it was like this, because it was, and because to be blunt, it was kind of lackluster. Like I was kind of like, oh, it was decent enough to where I felt like they were generally lip syncing for their life. Excuse me, lip syncing for their life.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of left me wanting more.
Mm.
And then of course there was the wig fail for Miss Heidi. I love you to death, girl, but if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, you need to make sure that wig is secure.
So I know there's been some big criticism about that happened, because the criticism has been, girl, if you're gonna duct tape your head, then where the hell's all your bobby pins to hold your hair on? Because you have the ability to hold your hair on.
Mm-hmm.
And I too was confused by that. The moment it happens in the lip sync and her hair falls off, I was like, oh god. And then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wait. I was like, if you was bald and you didn't have no tape on your head, then I'd be like, okay, obviously you decided not to super glue your scalp. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was white duct tape, bitch, like wrapped around your black head. Like I was so confused. I was like, but I will also say she put her hair back on, and they did edit. They cut away to Nikki for a couple of seconds before you go back to seeing Heidi. By the time you go back to Heidi, she's already up off the floor and on the other end of the T of the front. So
yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think it
very
took too long for her to put her hair back on.
no, it was very awkward. Like they went to Ru for a second, and I go, "Why are you going to Ru?" Because Ru didn't either. Because it doesn't look like Ru like noticed it, or if she did, she didn't like give an expression or yeah.
Well, we'll get to that a little later. Yeah, no, I agree that Ru didn't really seem to respond, which I think that's the whole point of the cut to Ru's face.
Yeah.
Because everybody in 12 seasons, including All Stars, knows you lose your hair, you lose your head. Like, bye, girl.
True. Yeah, I just wasn't. I wasn't. I love Nikki to death, and I think she does. She is beautiful, and I feel she did a good job in this, but it was so lacking. It was just lacking in something.
Yeah.
I really want. I really want to feel you like fight for this, and I get maybe you're not a dancing queen, but like when there's a dancing queen next to you, you have to do something to like draw the audience or the eye to you. And she wasn't doing it that much for me. Gary?
I said it was poise versus hunger. I thought that Nikki gives great face. She looks beautiful. She's like a model. She's got beautiful long legs. Like, she gives great face. So I think she walked the runway. Like, she lip synced, although there were a couple of times it looked like she was flubbing the words that she didn't know them, which bugged me just a tiny bit, because I imagine part of the issue could be that she, has to translate. But I'm like, girl, it's lip sync. You're not actually speaking the words. You just need to mouth them like you know them.
True.
So, like, and Heidi, like, pretty much almost right out the gate was like, oh, hell no. I am not going home, girl. Like, I was like, oh, we got a little Spitfire. We got a little bit of Kennedy Davenport in her. Like, we got these things where she was like, nay, nay, like, you sending my ass home, you're going to send me home, and, like, it best be for the right reason.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that, she, I still don't know how I feel about this. For some reason, Michelle was pleased with the stage scooting thing. Like, I've seen it enough times now. To me, it's like a shablam. Like, if a queen can, scoot across the floor, whether they're like zombie dragging their second half of their body or whatever. Like, it's just, it doesn't impress me. So I was surprised that Michelle seemed impressed. I was like, what? I was like, okay. I was like, is it kind of a fun move? Yes, but this is not the club. I'm not trying to hand you my tip, Nikki handled the almost collision really well.
Oh yeah, I really did like that.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, girl, nope, she stepped right around. I was like, all right, thank God, because that would have been catastrophic. So yeah,
good on Nikki for paying attention.
Yeah, agreed. So in the end, Heidi stays.
Yeah,
she shantays and Nikki sachets away. I was happy, but I honestly, for a brief second, wasn't sure if Ru was gonna, chop Heidi for losing her hair.
I'll put it like this: if they had, because just as I've been a fan of the show for a long time, if they had said something like cut to like a confessional where she's oh shit, I lost my hair, or when they cut to Ru and Ru kind of has a different look on her face, or they cut to Michelle that kind of maybe looks to Ru when or they look at each other. If they had given
Right.
something along those lines, I would have known she was in trouble. Because that would have been my like, oh,
Right.
they noticed, they saw it, they weren't happy with it,
Right.
and bye bye.
Right.
Since that didn't happen, I was fairly confident in Heidi staying. Um, Heidi's got enough of a personality
Mm-hmm.
and a funness to her that is I hate to be blunt, is keeping her on the show. Like she's doing somewhat well. She's getting a little better here and there, but she's also not flunking, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
She's maybe making like maybe a C plus, as it were.
I'd probably give her more like a B minus.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I understand what you're saying. Like, she's like in the bottom of the top half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so she'll be around, but I don't know how much longer unless like she steps it up and or other people fuck up or falters.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, ready to talk about the Snatch Game
Sure.
lip sync? So the bottom two are the unsurprisingly edited to hate each other mortal enemies, Britta and Aiden Zane. And they have to do Let It Go from the musical Frozen by Cassie Levy,
Mm-hmm.
which is not the Adina Menzel version.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't think of the way that what's his name flubbed up her name.
Adele
Azim. Yeah, it's not that version.
Yeah.
So, but they have to do Let It Go. So, Damon, what was your thought on that?
Meh.
Okay.
I mean, just I so we all know the Adina Menzel version. Every queen knows the Adina Menzel version. Like, if you haven't done it when it came out, you've seen a lot of queens do it. It's so popular, it's so well known. This different singing of the song, it's the song was my first kind of problem. I'll just be blunt. Like, obviously they were attributing it to the Broadway musical, da 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 da. So obviously they were going to do the Broadway musical version of it. I get it. I understand it. I like the version in the musical. Don't get me wrong. But it doesn't really work well on a stage, on this kind of stage, with drag queens lip syncing to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a song that's meant to be sung. This is the Broadway version of the song is meant to be sung. It's meant to be performed. Lip syncing it doesn't really help. Number one. Number two, there's only so much you can do with this song when you are in a gown, and both girls were in gowns essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden's had a slit on one side, which could have helped them a little bit, but there's only so much you can do. And then finally, like the third thing, you really need to emote this song. If you're gonna lip sync this song, this version of the song, you really need to fucking emote.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really getting that. There was a lot of flailing in certain people, and there's a lot of like this and like trying to project and stuff, but it just fell really fucking flat for me.
Right.
Like, super flat. Gary?
I put this in all capital letters. Ru was not impressed. Now, to be fair, at the time that this was recorded, she may have just had a Botox treatment, and that's why her face did not move. But Bish, it did not fucking move at all during the entire number. Even when we got to the end, I was like, oh dear. Now, if you want to spice things up, if you want to shake shit up, send both their asses home. Send home the one that obviously needs to go home because they dropped the ball in the episode, did not do well, was very defeatist, and brought to the runway a season 1 look. While I like Aiden a lot and I want to see so much more of her in real life, she just did not bring it in this episode. So it was obvious they edited the shit out of her to build her up to make it look like this tragic fall. And I was like, no, it wasn't a tragic fall. She just didn't do well. End of story. And Britta? Bye, girl. I need you to leave. I need you to go. I need you to go out the side door. You don't get no drink tickets. You loud. You annoying. You spit on people. You think you're the shit, but you smell like shit. I am done. Done. D-O-N-E. Done with your ass. Gotta go, girl.
Officially.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like, I hope my microphone is getting this fucking clap. I
can't stand her now. Like, I don't think I've been this mad in about 3 seasons with a queen that I'm just like, fuck you, you fucking fuck. Like, and what's worse is she's one of the oldest queens in the batch. I don't want to, like, get into her business, but she's 34. There are 2 34-year-old queens on this. They are both the oldest. You are not acting your age. You are acting petulant, like some self-serving, like, highly titled pageant queen who thinks their shit don't stink. I was like, What the fuck is wrong with your ass? You're from New York City. Act like it. Don't act like you're like the belle of the ball and everybody loves you and you always, like, I was like, you are delusional.
Yes.
I pray when you are at home and because of COVID, your ass is not in a bar where, like, people could be, like, supporting you and misguiding you, that you were actually literally seeing what we're seeing to understand the reason why your ass was in the bottom was because of how you did Jennifer Holliday wrong. Your ass is in the bottom. Like, your ass is, like, you know, like, being treated the way it is because you did shitty at your acting. Like, and you had not a great runway. Come on. Like, you deserve it. It is about you.
Yes.
Quit trying to put the focus on other bitch.
I have been feeling this way for a minute. So we're about to get into this. So let's just do this right now. Because, like, Gary just, like, opened his door and I'm ready to just, like, go through it. Since she was on the show, since she got on the show, Britta has gone down this, like, egotistical spiral to where I'm this, like, highly praised queen from New York. I don't know that. I can't confirm that. I'm not in New York. But if I haven't heard of you before.
Truth.
2, like, she's become, because of whatever has gone on in New York, she came in with this, like, sense of entitlement that has not gone away. I am over her constantly blaming other people for her faults. The 3, you know, when it was the 3 girls, 1 brain, where she felt like Aiden, they were carrying her in that challenge. No, you weren't. just be honest. The challenge in and of itself sucked. Just. I'm gonna put that out there. Three Girls, One Brain. The whole idea of it being improv never really would have worked because they all kind of had to say the same thing at the same time, which never really works really well in improv.
Mm-hmm.
Just point blank. Period. Like this was not a good choice. This was not a good segment for you all, and it did not help that you guys weren't really going with Aiden on things or doing whatever. Like, yeah, you maybe felt like you were carrying her, but you weren't because you all kind of floundered.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, there has been this like, again, like I don't understand why I'm not doing well because you're not. You're not. You're not doing well. Why was I in the bottom when Aiden wasn't? That's not on her. That ain't on Aiden. That's on the judges. The judges, whoever, producers, fuck it, whatever. Edited show, bullshit, whatever. Like, they were the ones that made her safe. Or Ru made her safe in that one episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up in the bottom. Now you weren't in the bottom two, but you were in the bottom. Do you not maybe understand why that happened? Like maybe it was you. You know, you keep clocking on this again, this sense of like why when I like the whole like design challenge for the ball where we got Aiden's like, look, and I spent all my time working on this. Like you and Nikki were like dogging her and Untucked about like, you know, she slept and she did all this shit. Well, obviously she didn't do so great because she ended up in the bottom that episode, along with you, Britta. And why was that? Because your look was shit. They thought it was corn. Obviously, whatever you had in your head was not interpreted well.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's not Aiden's fault that she went minimal with her look and it didn't land as well. And she did end up in the bottom. Just like you, where I put all this work into it and still fell. Like, I'm sorry about it, but that's sometimes the way things happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everyone's fault. And I hope now that Aiden is gone, that you will be going right after her.
Mm.
Because in my mind, you now have no one else to blame.
Well,
you've been blaming Aiden. You've been blaming whatever. You've been saying this and that and the other. You now no longer have Aiden to blame your insecurities and your issues and your whatever on for why you're not doing well. Yeah. It is on you now.
I'm more worried that she's going to be given, like, they've been editing her on purpose to kind of make her like a villain, to make her like not so likable, and then she's going to have this grand epiphany and she's going to stop being a cunt. And people are just going to be like, oh, look at her character growth, and she's seen her ways, and she's going to be a better person now. I'm so over this bitch. I would take Sherry Pie winning over her ass. I'm just, because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you spit take.
That's okay. You didn't. I didn't spit. But
I was just, you know, because you're a lady. But I'm like, you know, some people think what Sherry Pie did is unforgivable. That's a whole other discussion. But I'm like, you know what? If there's anything I cannot stand, is a pompous bitch. Someone who acts like their shit don't stink. You know what, Queen? You never get $1 from me. You never get any creed from me. You get no recognition. Have no time. None. There's a particular winner of a season. I don't talk about them because I honestly think that they kind of shot themselves in the foot since they won and said some shit. And I was like, you're a dumbass. That's unfortunate. But that's a topic for another day.
Ain't no time. I am with you. I am ready. I'm ready for Brittany to go.
Yeah.
Like, she has not given me, to date, she has not given me a redeemable quality.
Who knows? Maybe one of the queens will like suddenly go into cardiac arrest and she'll, perform CPR on them and save the queen's life.
Oh my God,
honey. And then there'll be this redemptive arc about how, she administered first aid and blah, 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 blah. Anyways. So I will say this. I thought the firework flash paper incident thing in the number was just dumb. Not well executed. Obviously a surprise. According to Willem and Alaska's podcast, Willem said word on the street is that production staff knew nothing about it and were not happy that it took place.
I mean, it technically could potentially be a fire hazard because so everyone, FYI, so they did this whole Frozen thing, right? So it was a theme. One of the things that they did was they had snow falling from the ceiling or rafters or whatever,
right?
And it gave it this very like snow kind of feeling. Sometimes that snow is highly flammable. So, like, you set off a certain like firecracker or whatever or something with a spark, might set the whole fucking thing on fire. Just saying, like. So if she did that, and they didn't know, that could have been really bad. Like, I saw it, and I even went like, oh, because I know that stuff. I know that, like, that stage prop, that snow stage prop, it's usually pretty flammable depending on what it is. Now, if it were like, maybe I don't even know what it could have been that would have worked to where it wasn't necessarily flammable, but there's a possibility.
Right. So Shantae, Britta stays. Aiden sashays away.
And if you look at the performance of the two of them together, I see why that was the case.
I agree.
But I am also in agreement with you that I think maybe both of them should have gone.
Yeah. I didn't care for Britta's performance. It was way over the top. It was too theatrical. It did not match the song. Now, all that being said, you know who I wanted to see lip sync this motherfucker? I wanted to see Jan lip sync this motherfucker.
Yeah.
She probably was pissed being at the back of the stage watching those two. Because out of all those queens, she's the one that I think would have been chomping at the bit and be like, oh, come on, tag me in. Like, just like, girl, let me do this.
Yeah.
But
Jan would have kicked ass on that song.
Yeah. So. You ready to move on? I think we had a little bit of a lag on the Skype.
Yeah.
You ready to move on? Okay.
Cover girl, put the bass in your walk. Cover girl.
All right, so it's times for snaps and eye rolls, aka hits and misses, the highs and lows of the episodes. We got a lot to talk about. Jesus, this double episode shit. All right, so Gay's Anatomy snaps. Damon, what'd you have snaps for?
I'll put it really quickly. I love Jan in the acting challenge. Of the queens that were in that, I really appreciate it because she kind of came in as the second character, the second Dr. Meredith Gay or whatever. And it was good. I loved the ending where she basically brushes Gigi off the walkway and comes in as well. I just thought it was very cute. Um, she did a really good job in the acting challenge. Um, so kudos to her for that. And then my other ones for this, my snaps are actually for, we got a lot of Brooklyn Heights realness for Miss Widow Von Du in the Untucked when we had the Aiden, Jada, Britta, Heidi kind of like fight that happens in the Untucked of that episode. We don't talk about Untucked a lot this season, but that Untucked was, whew, that was pretty fucking amazing.
It was epic.
So fucking epic. And because essentially what it was coming down to, which is, I mean, hate to say it was fact, is Aiden has felt like she's been picked on since the start of the season, and she was tired of it. And she was over it, and she was defending herself because she was tired of being like, she had a moment where she was safe that episode, and I could see why she was safe over some of the girls in the show. And she didn't get a chance to really celebrate in that moment because almost immediately she gets, it's Britta. Like saying, like, I don't feel like I should have been in the bottom, or maybe my scene partner and I should have been in the bottom together. And I want to be like, Bish, she wasn't the only scene you were in. Like, you were in a couple of things, and we've dragged Britta enough. I don't want to drag her anymore. Actually, let me do. I didn't like you at all in this in the Grey's Anatomy thing. I didn't feel what you were putting down. You didn't really give much in this thing, and I didn't really like your look either. You didn't really look like a doctor. Kind of looked like a hoe in a lab coat playing doctor.
No, she better don't.
Oh, the one thing I don't have a sound effect for is a whiplash.
Yeah.
Just flogging the shit out of her.
Anyway, I was very much impressed with Widow because she gave us very much a Brooklyn like Heights, like kept on sipping that drink and like I'm not gonna say a fucking word. I'm just gonna listen and enjoy this drink and like look like give to the camera and muck to the fucking camera. Like, oh, it was giving me life. I loved it.
Nice.
Gary, how about you?
So I want to give my snaps to Mama Ru for her runway look in the Grey's Anatomy episode. It was giving me life. I am so in love with that butterscotch honey almond hair color with the emerald green dress. It is right out of the Ho 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 Christmas album cover with the 3 Rus on it. It has always been a great color combination. It looks amazing on her skin. Her face look was perfection. Her hair was like gray. The dress was great. Like, I was just like, all right, could we have 13 episodes of that, please? Like, not exactly that, but like, could somebody get the game together? Because sometimes it's not that good. So, yeah.
Yes.
So I want to give snaps for that. Because that's the only thing that really stood out to me in the episode. Eye rolls. Damon. What you got eye rolls for?
So okay. It's been discussed before, and I'm going to say it again. Aiden's wig.
Okay.
I need you to stop wearing it, like, now. Like, I understand, like, looking at their makeup tutorial. I didn't watch the what you're packing, but the makeup tutorial that they, put out, I watched that you kind of have this idea of that this is your signature kind of look, and the wig is part of that signature look.
Mm-hmm.
That's quintessential Aiden, as it were. I think you need to pick a different wig. I think you need to pick something else. I think you need to do something else because this short black, like pixie cut black wig, just, it does not do anything for you. And I was tired of seeing it in the episodes of this season. And looking back, it looks like it was the wig that you wore in the promo shoot. Looks like it was the wig that you wore when you first walked into the runway. If it's the same wig, I'm sure it is.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this from you. Bob the Drag Queen in like the pit stop kind of knocked it that like it's been on the show more than Dahlia Sin was, and I mean technically true. I'm talking about it as like, I get that maybe it's a signature look for you, but you already have a very signature look on your face. You do this very kind of like curved up wing on your eye that you change with the color depending on what you're wearing. That I and the way that you kind of paint your face is kind of up and very angled. That's the signature look. A wig is not. Like a wig, for the most part, is not. I'm sure, some people might disagree. Like Miss Coco Peru, she'll probably disagree with me.
Which she does.
Like,
and that's where I am on this. Like, I do not have a problem with the hair. It doesn't faze me in the least bit. As a long time retired queen myself, I had one hairstyle because I considered myself way back in the day a gender illusionist. So my thing was to be a woman. So my persona was always gonna have the same hair. Like, that's one thing about drag that I now appreciate, but like I don't knock for anymore. But it does bother me, like when a queen is like I'm Jaja, and here's the 78 flavors of Jaja, because like while your makeup may change a little bit from time to time, it's like the outfit changes, the hair changes, like again and again and again and again, and I'm kind of like, oh my god, like that shit's expensive. Like, what the fuck? Like, where you get all this stuff from? Like, I'm like, if you could make a living at it and do it professional, great. So the Aiden thing, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, if she got 3 wig, leave her alone. Like, means nothing to me. She's, I mean, and I know people have kind of talked about it, but it's like, she's a line cook in a restaurant, like, like, well, might be again, given, well, COVID.
No. There's been an exit. She did an interview with, I think, MTV or something like that, and she has confirmed that she is no longer a line cook.
Right, but girl,
and she's looking to move to New York.
Most drag queens ain't making no coin right now, hardly. So
I mean, yeah, she could go back to it. Like,
she might have gone back and
like, she might have gone back and been like, "Bitch, I need a job." Like,
right?
Like, none of this is working for me.
Maybe she's a line cook at a Hamburger Mary's. So she's back there and she flipping burgers, and then she comes out and she do a number or two, take some tips, go back in the kitchen. I wouldn't doubt it. But anyways, yeah. So like the hair thing, don't bother me.
Yeah.
So my eye rolls for the Gays Anatomy episode is the ganging up on Aiden.
Ha!
I was over it. Like I was, and Heidi is, if she don't win that season, she is gonna win Miss Congeniality, I think, because she is just like being like, she's turning herself into fan favorite is actually the way to phrase it correctly. And I think that, she is definitively, like, she's not Miss Polly Sunshine, because, like, she had it.
Yes, I loved that.
She
Like,
completely was, like, done over. She clapped back. I was like, oh, okay.
mhm.
She
Like
called
that was
all
like,
y'all asses out about it.
mhm. Like I was sitting there, and I agree 100% with what she had to say.
Yeah.
Like, she was safe. Aiden was safe. Like, okay, so I'm knocking the wig. Don't get me wrong, and I still feel that way about
I
the wig.
understand.
But on that same token, the wig wasn't the thing here. The issue that they were apparently having or have had with Aiden is this like their perception of her lack of interest and lack of drive.
Right.
Like they don't feel that she's putting it all out there, and because of that, they are challenging her about it all. And I want to be like, there's different ways to interpret it. To me, I think I talked to Jim about this. I may have mentioned it in the Drag Race chat. Aiden has a very like conceptual like look.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what she's going for. She knows what she wants, and she doesn't really veer too far left or right from that, which could probably work in your bar where you are, what have you, and you're good. Like, you have a look that you are going for. You have a style that you are going for that works well for your frame, your shape, your figure, your face, your head, what have you. Because of that, she probably doesn't have to like overthink or think too much on what she's going to do. Perfect example being like the ball, with the corset and the Betty Page kind of look. She was going for this very Betty Page kind of look. And to me, she succeeded in that look as she put it together. Now, what the queens don't seem to understand is that because of that, like, she maybe not necessarily that she's not working as hard as you are. She doesn't have to work as hard as you do, or the perception that she's not working hard. Because she knows what she's going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to do that. And there we go. As she said over and over and over again, the look that I had in mind, I didn't need to put more on it or change anything up with it because that's what I had in mind. And she did get knocked for it. We saw that she got knocked for it. But you kind of getting at her about her not having the work ethic and the drive, it kind of is a big slap in the face to a lot of people, RuPaul included, that she's not supposed to be there. And because she's not doing the same things that you're doing, you feel like she's lacking when she's not. Every queen makes a choice. When they do a runway, when they make a look, when they, put something up on, on the stage for the judges to look at. You can either go all out over to the extreme, or you can try to find a way to edit it down to something like that. My case in point with that is like you put her against, like, say, Rockham in that episode, where Rockham threw everything at it because she thought that that's what they would want, and she put all of this shit on this outfit, and it put her in the bottom and then she sent her out because it was too much.
Right.
That's to me the difference. And just because you see someone sleeping, we never saw that. I'm just going to put it out there. Like, I was sleeping. Like, maybe you take a break when you can because she had an opportunity. You don't know what's going on in her life. You don't know if she has something that maybe she feels like she needs to take a nap or whatever. She could have, we don't know.
Right.
Right? We don't know. And for them to like knock on her work ethic, that was my biggest problem. And not give her the success that she just got. She was safe. She didn't win. She wasn't in the top. She was safe. And that is not her decision.
Mm-hmm.
That was Ru, the judges, whoever. That was their decision to make. And I'm sorry about it, but I'm not sorry about it. Like that's the way it is. Like, instead of knocking the other queen down, why aren't you like talking to the judges or knocking at the judges about it? Obviously, because you don't feel like you can.
I'm not going to disagree.
I
I'm not.
No.
So.
Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah. Let's get into the last part. So Snatch Game, snaps and eye rolls. Who are you giving snaps to, Damon?
Mr. Daniel Franzese. For no other reason than the fact that it's Daniel. I thought he was.
If I didn't know better, I think you got a crush.
No. He just looked. He looked really good on this episode. I liked what he did. It was a lot of. I would have liked more out of him in, say, like the on the judging panel, but I think he was dealing with like there's all these people at the same time.
Yeah.
But he looked good. And I like that they did like a whole Mean Girls. Like they had the guy who played Aaron Samuels as well on the show. It was kind of a cute little thing. Yeah, good for them. It would have been fun if someone had played Lindsay Lohan, but whatever.
Yeah. So for my snaps, I have snaps for two separate things. I got to give snaps to Gigi. Good, because I thought her boldness to be the robot for Snatch Game was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When Ru talks to her in the workroom, it kind of says, I'm not sure about this. And Gigi, so professionally, so politely, talks back to her and says, I do not agree with your assessment, or however she phrased it. It was like, okay. Like, girl, this is going to go one of two ways. You are going to crash and burn and bye. Or you know what you're doing and you don't need someone to talk to you about it. And it was the latter. Like,
Yeah.
she is the front runner in many ways. She can, she's got outfits, she's got looks, she's got characterization, she can act, she can, well, so far I haven't really seen dance, but that may not really ever come up. And we haven't seen her sing exactly. So, like, that may be where her downfall is. But yeah, like, she delivered. I was not a fan of the skull cap thing. I understood for character why she was doing it, but it bugged the fuck out of me that it was wrinkled. And wasn't necessarily a great fit to her head, but it made, she understood how to be funny, how to deliver.
Yeah.
How to make something that didn't seem it was going to be funny at all to make it funny.
Yeah. She made a very bold choice there. And not only that, she didn't waver or falter with Ru.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was my big thing. Excuse me. My biggest thing was that despite Ru kind of going, I don't know, she went, I do know, and I'm gonna knock it out of the fucking park. Like, good for her. Like that was the one thing. Like I will admit that I had the most laughs with. I thought it was very funny, because it wasn't at all what I was expecting.
Right. My second snaps, girl, Ru's hair
Mm-hmm.
in this episode. Motherfucking taffy. That shit was so on point. She turns the corner. Don't get me wrong, the gown's nice. But the hair, that hair, I was like, where the hell did that come from? What does it taste like? Because it looks fucking edible. It was crazy wavy, shiny, luxurious. It looked like grape bubble gum, like candy. It was so insane to me. I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
What in the hell is that shit? I would, and like, it takes a lot for me to be impressed by hair, and I realize it's not like the best hair ever, but in that moment on her, like, I was like, well, that's a win. Yay. According to the Willem and Alaska podcast, they had Courtney Act on. It is a Wigs by Vanity. It's actually a double stack. Courtney confirmed it. It's called Persian Rose, I think is the color. There's a little bit of scandal because the guy that actually designed the hair, he put it on Instagram on the day that they recorded the episode, and then by the time they recorded the episode, his post was taken down. Oh, right. So Willem was like, well, guess we're getting a new hairstylist for Ru. Because Delta's not doing hair anymore. She got fired. That's a whole bit of drama. Because she found out she was not going to come back for, what was it, season 11? Or no, come back for season 12. She also wasn't going to England for UK. Yeah. Yeah, lots of drama around that. There's a really great episode of Alaska and Willem doing their podcast, Race Chaser, with Delta, and Delta puts it all out there and like talks about how she found out that she was not coming back, and because she's not union, and this, that, and the other thing, and oh yeah, she, even though she won an award and all this kind of stuff, like it's some crazy shit to listen to. But anyways. So I'm like, I hate to say it, I'm so glad we had a long ass break from the last time we had Ru, like a thing to watch, because I watched AJ and the Queen on Netflix. This is a whole diversion. My apologies, everybody. I watched AJ and the Queen. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It got one season. It's not getting renewed. I'm okay with that. Like, it's not the end of the world. But there's a part of me that's like, now I'm getting to the age and the time where I'm like, I don't need all Ru all the time. Because more often than not, Ru is starting to turn into the old person that, like, you're like, get off my lawn. You know what I mean? Like you say some things, you do some things, you're pissing people off. Like the whole not having bio queens, like not paying attention to when you say things about the trans community. You know what I mean? Like there's been these fuck ups, these flubs, these like kind of things, and you're coming across as hoity-toity. You got a little bit of an attitude. You seem disconnected and not in touch with people. So when it came to like the season coming around, I was like, I'm not over Ru, but I'm been moving in that direction for a little while. So like, I'm glad that the show is entertaining because that's what's keeping me engaged, not her. And I don't like saying that because I really, like, I have for years looked up to RuPaul Charles as a person who's done great things, but you're not doing great things now.
Mm-mm.
So
We're having some, I'm not going to go off topic too much, but yeah, there's some concerns.
yeah. So, and what's bothersome to me is that Michelle, everybody else that's around Ru seems to be more realistically based. Like, I saw a headline recently, and I forgot to post it in our Telegram chat, that apparently Michelle Visage is looking to host a drag queen reality show contest that includes all kinds of queens, like bio queens and drag kings and. I think, and like, oh yeah, I was like, ooh, apparently somebody's trying to bite the hand that feeds them. I don't know. We'll see. Could be a rumor, but I know. So
Who knows? That's interesting.
yeah, we'll have to have that discussion another time, because the show's running long. Keep moving on. So eye rolls from the Snatch Game. Damon, who were your eye
Shit,
rolls
I
for?
look at that time. So I'll kind of go really quickly through this. There's two things for me. Bad Snatch Game choices. This episode has kind of been all about choices for me. And I'm going to put it out there. I'm sorry, Widow, but your Tina and Ike was a really bad choice. I'm glad you were safe, but like Tina Turner, like the story and beauty behind Tina Turner is not realistically funny.
So I will say this: I didn't watch the movie. I don't know that much. I realize I'm gonna lose gay points for this. I have not memorized Tina Turner's background. I have her biography book that came out last year. I read it. It's great. But nowhere in her biography does she talk about Ike and cake. I was so like, what the fuck is that moment about?
Yeah.
I was lost.
Yeah. It's I think it's from the movie. It's an Eat the Cake anime. It says anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. I haven't watched the movie in a long time, but I remember that being something in it. Anyway. You always have to be careful about what you're going to do. And if you pick a character that no one or a person that no one really knows a lot about, then you either have to go to like the try to find the funny and do whatever you can. Again, Aiden and her Patricia Quinn was awful. It was not a good choice. It was not funny. You're basically playing an old woman that could have been anybody.
Mm-hmm.
To be perfectly frank and honest with it, like you could have been any older woman, and we would have gotten kind of the same responses. Why was it Patricia Quinn? Which is also a cause for controversy because Patricia Quinn apparently was not a fan of Aiden's performance.
Yeah, and I really honestly feel bad. Like, that's the risk you take doing Snatch Game of someone who's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could go one of two ways. They're either flattered. Actually, go three ways. They're flattered. They just stay silent. Or, in this case, Pat Quinn came out. It was like, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
And what bothers me about it is Aiden has to live with this now. And Aiden specifically said in the setup and was asked the question in the workroom which version of Pat Quinn he was going to do, and he said the drugged out version. So my issue with Pat Quinn's response is, girl, I get that you're upset and you don't care for this portrayal, and it was not a good portrayal. However, this characterization was coming from the not so great part of your life biography right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you get to bitch that much about the fact that the queen picked the darker chapter of your past. Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be like if somebody did OJ Simpson
Mm-hmm.
and then like try to put on a white glove on Snatch Game. My God, I just realized like how crazy that would be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't get to bitch about what they pick from your life that they choose to put on there to make funny. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's on
Yeah.
that's on them, but it's also part of your history.
Story. Mm-hmm.
So I fully agree that Aiden should have gone for Pat Quinn as Magenta from Rocky Horror, and that
Yep.
would have been, she would have won probably,
Mm-hmm.
or been in top 3 with Jackie
So
and Gigi.
yeah, and I would just put it like this. I don't. Okay, again, blunt, honest here. How I'm feeling about it. I don't think Aiden could have done well with any character.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be like, that's the way I feel about it. Mostly because I don't see a lot out of her that goes beyond like this streamlined kind of